Hey, what's up? If you play Code Vein 2 and you've been stomaching some of the rough spots since launch, you're going to want to hear about this new update. The team shaved down model processing load on certain bosses and field enemies and patched a nasty frame rate hitch that could hit you after fast traveling. That means fewer moments where the game stutters during hectic encounters and fewer cheap deaths caused by the engine having a bad minute. Having the game keep up with your inputs is a huge deal for the sort of tight combat this title aims for. On the cosmetics and feel front, they added new character customization parts, most notably an accessory called bangs, and they tweaked the player's posture while walking and running. These are the tiny personality-giving touches that make your avatar feel more like your avatar and less like a collection of stats. The motion changes are subtle, but you'll notice them when you're moving through towns or sprinting between skirmishes. The animation polish helps the whole experience feel less stiff and more heroic. Audio also got some attention. The sound effects for key moments, a successful parry, a back attack, or that satisfying enemy break have been adjusted and field environmental volumes were rebalanced. That means those clutch hits should feel and sound better, and the ambience no longer masks important combat cues. Audio tweaks are one of those underrated things. Improved feedback can make an action feel reliably good, and when your brain trusts the feedback, you play better. The update made some UX changes that reduce accidental inputs too. Mouse over is disabled if you have both a controller and mouse connected. That prevents the controller from moving you into a menu option you didn't mean to highlight, which is a tiny but welcome fix. They also added more resurrection monuments around the map, which means fewer long, frustrating runs back to hotspots when things go sideways. Balance and action timing are where the patch really makes its mark. The devs reworked the timing windows for a whole host of player actions. You can evade, guard, and follow up more reliably after attacking. Rolls and heavy rolls have reduced cooldown on inputs. The timing for actions after using regeneration or trap items has been tightened. And, crucially, regeneration and item use now accept buffered inputs. What that adds up to is a combat loop that rewards quick reactions and reduces the number of times you get punished for trying to act right after another animation finishes. For anyone who's felt punished by animation lock, this is a welcome relief. They also increased attack speeds for several weapon types and formae. Hammers got a global bump to normal attacks, and named formae like Endless Onslaught, Backdraft, Coffin Breaker, Wraith's Fury, and Vanquisher received faster timings. Some magic spells had their charge times shortened as well, and several magic formae let you act faster after casting. That means builds that lean on those moves will feel snappier and more usable in fast exchanges. Alongside that, they increased poise for certain heavy impact formae and spells so that activating those big moves doesn't leave you as fragile as before. That change nudges the game toward allowing big, committed plays without immediate punishment, which suits aggressive playstyles. On the enemy side, adjustments were made to open up windows of opportunity for the player. Boss action intervals were tuned so you can land more follow-ups, invincibility time while enemies are downed was shortened, and some field enemies became easier to stagger. They even removed a stagger resistance modifier that used to be active during enemy attack animations, and they made shielded enemies more susceptible to stance-breaking attacks. These changes, combined with the player timing improvements, shift the balance toward more readable fights and more satisfying consecutive offense. It's the sort of rebalancing that makes stuck points feel beatable if you apply the right approach. Numerical values like enemy stagger ease and break value were tuned across a lot of attacks. Some attacks and spells had their stagger ease increased so they break foes faster, while other heavy attacks had their break values dialed down. That kind of careful tuning prevents certain moves from being overbearing, while making sure underused moves become viable. The bottom line is that not every weapon or spell was changed the same way. The patch nudges many individual tools toward a more consistent performance profile, so your choice of weapon actually feels meaningful. Bug fixes are comprehensive. Crashes in photo mode in the Magmel hot spring, problems that could make the game unresponsive after falling deaths tied to certain actions, quest progression bugs that could block clearing, and many partner AI or trait issues were addressed. Equipment and formae activation bugs like range oddities, hold input bugs, and model display glitches were fixed too, which is important if you're into precise builds and reliable animations. And there are dozens of smaller fixes across dungeons, fields, UI mappings, sound, and visual effects that add up to a healthier overall experience. To sum up what matters in practice, fights will feel smoother, your inputs will be responded to more reliably. Some of the biggest annoyances that could cause crashes or softlocks are patched, and several weapon and spell archetypes have been adjusted so the flow of combat favors skill and timing over random punishment. If you've been frustrated by animation lock, inconsistent stagger behavior, or sudden frame rate drops, this update addresses a surprising amount of that pain. The changes aren't just cosmetic, they rework how encounters play out and how builds feel in the moment. That's the scoop on the update, build 22081776, and how it reshapes play. I'll leave it there so you can go test out the new timings and listen for those updated sound cues.